Good morning, children. Today we are going to revise our first chapter again, which is Introduction to Computer System. In this chapter, our first topic was evolution of computing devices, in which we discussed about the three eras. Early era, which consists of abacus, slide rules, and Napier bones. Next one was the medieval era, and last one was modern era. And we are studying about the modern era, where analytical engine was the first machine to be built. Analytical engine, it was developed by Charles Babbage, who was also known as the father of computers. After that, we are having 5 generations in this era. In first generations, we used vacuum tubes for the calculations, and the first computer that was generated by in this era was ENIAC, electronic numerical integrated computer. First computing system designed by Atanasoff in 1941. It was considered as the first digital computer, and it was not the first programmable computer. Now after that, we are having second generation. In second generation, the first one was a UNIVAC, which was the first computer for commercial use, or you can say that for the public use. It was developed in 1951, and IBM 650 and 700 were also popular computers of this era. In this era, we used punch card and the magnetic tapes for calculation purposes. After that, in the third generation, it was based on integrated circuits, and IBM 370 and 360 were popular in this generation. After which, we are having the fourth generation based on microprocessor GUI. GUI means graphical user interface, having icon-like outpost. After that, in this we are having POP 11 and star 1000 as their star performers. And last generation, that is the fifth generation, we are having AI, that is artificial intelligence. Now our next topic is components of computer system. As we all know that in computer system we are having two basic components. One is hardware and the other one is software. Now what is hardware? Tangible part of any computer system is known as hardware, and non-tangible part, or you can say that programming code which is executed on a computer processor, it is known as software. Now we are having examples of hardware and software. In hardware, you can see the tangible parts like monitor, printer, keyboard, mouse, scanner, etc. These are the hardware, whereas the Firefox, Chrome, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Windows, Adobe Reader, these are the software parts which we are not able to touch or see. These are just a programming code that are executed on it. Next, we are having the functional computing function units of a computer system. In this, we are having 4 basic units, which one is input, output, CPU, and secondary memory. Now, what is the input unit? From which we take the input and provide to the CPU. Okay, that means it accepts a coded information source program or machine language. Machine language is a binary language which directly works on computer, and in this we are having only 0 and 1. After feeding it to the computer, next we are having a output unit, which is act as a counterpart of input unit. Okay, and it displays the result to the outer world. Next, we are having CPU, which is also known as a brain of computer. It's a central processing unit, and it is basically having 3 parts: control unit, arithmetic and logic unit, and main memory. Control unit, the nerve center. As we all know that CPU is a brain of computer, and then control unit is a nervous system which checks the state of the other devices and other units and sends signals to them what to do and how to do. Next, arithmetic and logic unit. In arithmetic and logic unit, we are having 2 units: arithmetic unit and logic unit. Arithmetic unit is used to perform the arithmetic functions, and logic unit is used to perform the logical functions. Next, we are having the main memory, which is directly associated with the processor, and last one is secondary memory, where the large amount of data is used, and that data is stored in this memory, which is not frequently used by us, and we need it to store permanently. Next, we are having focus on memory. What is memory? It's a predefined workplace where system keeps information and data to facilitate its performance. Now we are having a structure of a memory. In this we can consider it as a cell. The complete this portion of memory we are considering it as cell. Same case, we are having different cells in the memory. After that, the single portion of this cell is known as bit. The full form of bit is binary digit, which is the elementary unit of memory. Next we are having group of 4 bits is known as nibble, and group of 8 bits is known as byte. Now if we are having 2 digits which we want to add, 2 plus 3, so the computer will add the digits and give us the output, which is 5. So the time taken to produce a result from accessing the memory from the start of access until the availability of result, it is known as memory access time. The total time used by the computer to access the memory from the start to the end, it is known as memory access time. Next we are having 2 types of memory. One is primary memory and the other one is secondary memory. Primary memory is also known as temporary memory or the main memory. Temporary memory because it's a volatile memory. Main memory because it's directly attached with the processor. Now we are having 2 types of primary memory, or you can say that RAM. We are having 2 types of primary memory, which is RAM and ROM. First we will understand about the RAM by a block diagram of a RAM unit. Okay children, while our first memory is random access memory. In this memory, first we are having the block diagram of the memory unit. What happens in this? First we are understand what are these. We are having input lines, means which is providing input. Next, which is output lines, which is providing us output. After that we are having 3 control lines: K address line, read and write. K address lines means, as we all know that we are having few addresses stored in the memory, as memory is based in the form of a address. Okay, every location is having a unique address, so number of addresses, so you can say we are having the K address lines which access the number of addresses. Next we are having read and write operations. Read is used to fetch the instructions from the input line and write is used to execute the instructions. First we got the message from the computer, the control unit. Okay, after that write operation or the write line take the address from the K address lines which is on the memory unit having 2 to the power K words, and then fetch that address and put it on the data input line. Okay, then read or take the address from the data input line and put it on the data output line. Okay, so this is the basic function of RAM. First, it fetches the addresses from address line. Next, it write the result on the input line. Then it read the instruction from the input line or the final result, and fourth, it put the result on the output line. Now what is written here? We are having a word. A word is a natural unit of data used by a particular processor design. For suppose a processor is of 64-bit, then its word length is different, and if it is 32-bit, then the word length is different. So it is having n bits per word, and the total number of words are 2 to the power k because we are having K address lines. Now we are having 2 types of RAM. One is DRAM, other one is SRAM. In DRAM, it consists of transistor and capacitor, access time below 20 to 70 nanoseconds, and used in primary storage section. Capacitors, which store the charges. Next, SRAM consists of flip-flop, fast access times about 10 nanoseconds, used in specialized applications, easier to use and shorter read and write cycles. What are flip-flops? They are used to store binary information and it was formed by registers. Okay, and we all know that SRAM is expensive from DRAM. Next we are having ROM, which is a non-volatile memory. That means it is not refreshing itself again and again. First we are having PROM, programmable read-only memory. EPROM, erasable programmable, which is of 2 types, ultraviolet and electrically alterable. Next we are having EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable memory, which is work as a backup to RAM. because if RAM loads the contents, then it can be replaced with the help of EEPROM. Now we are studying about the application areas of PROM. It is basically used in mobile phones, video game controllers, medical devices, etc. and in RFID decks. EEPROM is basically used in debugging, program development in chips and microcontrollers. And EEPROM is basically used as a BIOS chip in computers as storage reprogrammable calibrations, etc. Now we are having secondary memory, which is 4 storage devices: hard disk, CD-ROM, DVD, pen drive, Blu-ray disc. Hard disk is made up of magnetic media, then CD-ROM, which is made up of optical media. After that, in CD-ROM we are having 3 different parts: ROM, recordable and rewritable. ROM means which can't be recorded once, they are already pre-recorded. Recordable means we can record it once, and rewritable means we can read and write it again and again. Pen drive, we are having flash memory. Flash memory means solid memory. Okay, that means it is having no moving parts like magnetic media or optical media. Moving parts means in magnetic media we are using magnetic material and the memory is in the form of sector and tracks, and continuously it is rotating, so that by using magnetic material we are able to write things on it. Whereas in optical media we are using lasers to write on the memory. In pen drive it is no moving parts, it's a flash memory. In Blu-ray disc we are again using the optical media. Now what is the difference between the optical media which is used in CD-ROM and Blu-ray disc? In optical media in CD-ROM we are using red laser to read and write, while in Blu-ray disc we are using blue-violet laser, and this is getting popular nowadays. After that we are having memory units conversion. I told you that 1 bit is binary digit and 8 bits is 1 byte. Now we have to understand, if we are having 1024 bytes, then it is known as, or it is equal to 1 kilobyte. In 1024 kilobyte it is known as 1 megabyte. 1024 MB is equal to 1 GB. 1024 GB is equal to 1 TB, and the conversion goes and so on. Now if it is written like this, 2 to the power 10 GB, then it is equal to 1 TB. Okay, don't get confused if you get 2 to the power 10, because in measurements 2 to the power 10 is equal to 1024. So we can write it in either way. Either we are writing 1024 or we can write 2 to the power 10. So this is the memory unit conversion table, how we are converting lower bytes into the higher one, higher memory unit, or higher into the lower one. Next we are having software. What is a software? We all know that is a collection of programs that are stored or run on computer. Why we need a software? It helps the user to work on the computer. It directs all the peripheral devices on the computer system. Peripheral devices means the external devices which are attached to the computer, which tell us what to do and how to perform a task. It plays the role of a mediator between the user and computer hardware. Here we can say that first we are having the hardware, then we are having system software. After that we are having application softwares. We are going to read it in further detail. First one, software set of programs that governs the functioning of computer. It is divided into 2 types of software: system software and application software. It controls the internal computer operation. It carries out the necessary operations. System software. Now system software is divided into system management and developing software. How we can recognize it? First thing, software is divided into 2 parts: system software and application software. Okay, now we are focusing on the system one. First one is system management. How we are going to manage our system? By using an operating system, device driver, and system utilities. What is an operating system? It provides the link between the hardware and the interface, so that an user is able to work on it. After, device drivers, which enhance the functionality of a computer. It is known as device drivers, and we are having specific drivers for specific purposes in the system. After that we are having system utilities, which provide the help to manage the resources like disk fragmenter, disk cleaner, antivirus, backup, etc. Now we are moving towards the developing software, or we can say that how we are able to develop the software. In this we are having three parts: programming language. Okay, it is an artificial language which tells us how to work on a computer, and it is having three parts basically. Okay, first one, low level machine language, which is also known as a binary language. Low level assembly language, which works on the mnemonics code. After that, middle level or high level language. Some persons are considering there is a middle level language in between, some are not considering it. In high level language and middle level language. Now next one is language processors. In language processors we have first one is translator. Translators are those language processors which are developing or which are converting the middle level language or the assembly language to the high level language, or high level language to the machine language. Okay. Next one, assemblers. Assemblers are those language processors which convert the assembly language to the high level language. Interpreter and compilers. Interpreter and compilers are those language processors which convert the machine language to the high level language. Interpreter converted it line by line, whereas compiler converted it in the single go. What is linker and loader? Linkers are used to link the program into the main memory, whereas loader assigns the memory to the main program to execute it. After that we are having next application software. In application software we are having two types of software: general purpose software and specific purpose. General purpose, which one can easily use and it for various purposes. A specific purpose is for specific task. In general purpose we are having Word, PowerPoint, Excel, which we are using. Other one, image editors. After that we are also having like desktop publishing software, database management system, and you can say that graphics softwares. Whereas in specific purpose software we are having softwares for specific purpose, like reservation system for bookings, attendance system for marking the attendance, billing system, and report card generators. Thank you children. This is our revision for our first chapter.